Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 134 of our Kouryer podcast. Our today's guest is Mr. Jander Gonzalez. He's a character artist and also illustrator from Dominican Republic. It's a small country in the Caribbean, so he's actually the first official Caribbean guest of the podcast. And as you might notice some changes, the camera quality is better. No, fortunately, I haven't improved or upgraded my webcam. It's just my phone webcam. And some of you might have seen on the stories of the page that my laptop kind of died. So yeah, for now, I'm using as of date of today, which is, I assume it's the 30th of today. This is the day of recording, is right now the 30th of January, and you're probably going to see this episode watch this episode in a week or 10 days after this, because there are some technical difficulties. Now, with that quick introduction out of the way, let's just jump into the first question I ask everyone. Give us a little introduction on how you got into the world of visual development and art and just everything. What spark made you get into this?
I think the part really caught me was basically anime at first. Yeah, that's a classic. But then I don't know. I really started to like the drawing and stuff like that, in the way that I could express myself, and basically, I really liked the way I started to improve really quick, and I feel like there was something in there for me in some way. It makes sense for you.
And what anime is kind of sparked your interest into art? What were your favorite all-time animes?
I mean, when I was a child, and was Dragon Ball, Goku, Vegeta, and stuff like that. That stuff really caught me. I wanted to draw every day a character from Dragon Ball.
All right, awesome. And some old school 80s anime, 90s anime.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, really old.
And all right, another question I want to ask is that about your past is when people get 17 and 18, that's usually the time of in everyone's life, that phase that everyone's thinking about their future. They want to decide those big important decisions of, all right, what major I'm going to go in, am I going to go to college, am I going to take an apprenticeship. During those times, how was it for you? At that time, did you still wanted to become an artist, or you were going another path? How was the journey for you?
That was really rough. I mean, I didn't know what to do at first. I started college. I started studying graphic design, and I really liked that. But after a while, I felt like that was not for me. I didn't enjoy it at all. I really like drawing, and they were giving me a lot of drawing courses in the college too. I needed to understand it. I needed to know how to draw first, and then they was giving me a lot of graphic design stuff. But it was a mix of both. But I really enjoy more the drawing part. So I was thinking I was maybe I will be graphic designer later. I don't know, but I just stopped it all of a sudden and started drawing a lot more, and uploading my drawing to DeviantArt, Instagram, and stuff like that. And a friend of mine actually got me a job drawing. At the time I didn't know that I could make a living out of it. So that was the starting point for me. I was like, wow, if I can make a living drawing, then I don't need to do this graphic design at all. I rather just draw my whole life. So yeah, that was it. I had 20 something, 20 early. I was in my early 20s when that happened.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, graphic design is usually one of those common routes that artists go through. Like, they first like, oh, I want to become an artist. But at the time, they're kind of hesitant because they're not sure if it's actually paying off. But they know, like, for example, oh, this guy just designed the logo for $500. Maybe I should go into graphic design because it's both art and it's stable. What more do you want? So they go to graphic design and they kind of discover early on that it's not that fun. By the way, just no hate to graphic design. Graphic design.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know.
Just to make sure, but for usually people who want to make their own worlds and characters, that's not what they should go. Like, again, not to just mock graphic design or as a discipline, but for creatives, like from this side, graphic design is not really like suitable. And that's usually the mistake they make.
Yeah.
And well, I want to ask you something else about your main branch of design. In the introduction, I mentioned that you're focusing on character illustration and all of that, which I assume that's your main thing that you're working on. But
yes.
If that's the case, please give us a little, like from the beginning of your experience in that field till now, like how has the journey been for you?
It was kind of tricky. I mean, basically, it all started with eSport. You know what it is, right? Yeah. Okay. So I really liked video games and mainly the competition inside of that. Yes, and then I was making a lot of fan arts for players in the community. A lot of organizations saw them, and some of them actually asked me to do, illustration for them, stuff like that. And that became like my little niche for me. Like I was getting a lot of job in the community, and I got like I don't know, a lot of people knew me for that. And after a time, I became like I don't know, better in the area, doing some cool stuff for them, and some of that work actually reached like a lot of people. And I mean, after in that time, I haven't done anything real job as a charity designer. But I always enjoyed it. I mean, for me at least, but not professionally. Then some people got a brief, and in that brief there was like a lot of my work, and they decided to contact me directly. Like it was the right decision because they feel like who's a better person to do this kind of job, like the person himself. And so they hired me as a charity designer. That was the first time I got to do charity design, like real charity design professionally for a studio. And after, I don't even know how, but after I got that job, like all my emails, all my email was from people that wanted me to do charity design for them. Everything, every single one of them. I don't even know how because before that I haven't done one single one of them, and all of a sudden they start reaching me for that, and that was like last year I think, yeah. And since then everything I have done is basically that.
All right, awesome. And by the way, I'm just asking, was the main social media that may like helped you to off, like, with this whole character design thing, was Twitter or Instagram? Because I don't know, a sense of me tells me it's Twitter, but
yeah, it was Twitter. It was Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, go on.
No, because for me, like Twitter, I gained more followers on Twitter real quick. And Instagram became like steady for a while. I didn't almost like that for me. And yeah, for me also I feel like Twitter is my main social media at the moment, like something like that. I don't know. I enjoy it more. Yeah, I spend more time there too.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, the interactions are on Twitter, I think, a lot more, but Instagram is kind of like yeah, basically Twitter is much better even for artists, in general, not just character artists, like, because the fandoms are active there, like, the members of like different fandoms, like, just everything. There's a lot more you're going to find more interactions there than, like Instagram, somewhere like Instagram. But, and so essentially what you said was the first ever art job paycheck you ever got was through that, right? Making fan arts.
Basically, yeah. I have to say, like, I had a job. Well, the job that I mentioned earlier that my friend got me, I quit that, and the very same year, some organization, this organization was looking for a illustrator, and the very first year I quit my job to become a freelancer. I sent my portfolio to them. I got the job. I was lucky. I think I was lucky. So that was like my very first real job. That's all I can say. And yeah, that was my first job, but not as a charity designer. I was mainly doing stuff for eSport. So that started like the way, and I became like recognizable for that.
All right. And actually one of the ways I think, like right now I'm looking at your, like, for anyone who's watching the, like, podcast on the video version, I'm just looking through on my other phone, like, his works. And I saw some of your fan arts, that really resemble like, Valorant characters, and even did a Phoenix, I think. Some stuff for the Die For You music video, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Could you care to explain, like, about your experience working with a team, how the interaction was? Like, are you a Valorant fan yourself? Because I've seen you probably are, because there's a lot of
I'm not at all. I don't even play FPS, but I like the aesthetic of the game, but I haven't even played it. As for that was in fact like my very first job as a character designer with the line animation. The experience was amazing. I mean, I felt all the time like I was too little, like I don't know, because there was too many talents in there. But I got a lot of experience there. They helped me a lot with the job, and they trust me too. Like they trust me with the job too, because I was really, really, really afraid at first, because I thought like it was like too big for me at the time. I really haven't done something that big, especially for animation. I really haven't worked for animation before, so they were really nice to me. And after that, I became a bit closer to them. I have done a lot of some other stuff for them. I just finished something with them this very week. So yeah, that was excellent for me.
All right, awesome. And I mean, I can totally understand. Like, there's this thing with Riot games like League of Legends, Valorant. They're all great games, but if you play them like alone without any friends, like if you're solo queuing, you're gonna lose like inch by inch of your sanity. I mean, they're amazing games, beautiful art, but yeah, I mean, the community kind of not really fun to deal with times. And by the way, like what another thing I'm noticing is, because you said you had a background in graphic design, like the presentation of your characters as a character artist, I think one of the reasons that they look so appealing is also that graphic design skill that's kind of coming to play here. Like, some of your OCs here, like Lapine, Roofront, Misui, like all of this, like it shows that someone with a mindset of a graphic designer designed the presentation of it. And don't you agree that, maybe, of course, you didn't become a graphic designer, but it's really helping you in your character design career?
It helps me a lot. In fact, even if I don't do it anymore, I still like keep an eye of the trends they use and stuff like that. I really like it, but not. I really hate doing it for other people, if that makes sense. Because one of the things, like make me realize that was definitely not for me. Was doing logos. I really, really, really hate that. So I stopped it all the time. I stopped at that. I really like drawing.
All right, and let me ask you a really interesting question that which some people say it might be the hardest questions of the podcast, and you're going to see in a moment. Don't worry, it's nothing personal question or weird like that. All right, here's a question. Who are your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most and you're still following them?
Favorite artists? I mean, I haven't said this. I'm a really big fan of Street Fighter. I really like the game a lot. So a big influencer for me was Daigo Ikeno. That was he did like some character designer for Star Strike, and also the character design for Street Fighter 4 too. I really I spent most of my time in when the game came out, Street Fighter 4 especially. I spent a lot of time playing that game and practically like analyzing his drawings. I have a lot of his drawings in my computer, and I can say openly like he's my biggest inspiration.
And who was your main on Street Fighter 2? Like, by the way, just with Street Fighter in general, because my first Street Fighter was also Street Fighter 2.
I really like Ryu, but I play him like in every game, but he often doesn't he's not too strong actually in the game. But I use a lot of other characters like Sakura, Aidon, and Phaedon. But my favorite is Ryu.
Yeah, I mean, mine was Dhalsim because I was a noob, so we could just spam Dhalsim moves, and he has a lot of range.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, it was a fun game. And the next thing is, how would you say, how should I say it? All right, let me rephrase the question this way. If you had in a imaginary scenario, hypothetical scenario, you had enough time and resources and everything, right? What skill would you go and learn? Aside from art, we want to get to know you a bit more better. What other hobbies do you have?
Maybe music. I mean, I really like I don't know. I really like piano, but I never have the time to really practice. But I have this in my soul. I really would like to learn some piano. I'm really bad at music, horrible. But that's one of the things I would like to try sometime. Maybe just I don't even have it like a hobby because I don't know. I have to play one day and try. I don't know. But I really, as a hobby, I do photography and play video games kinda competitive, no, almost professionally. But I stopped doing that because I really wanted to focus more on my job. Yeah.
All right, and there's a new question I added to the podcast that I kind of want to ask people recently, which is I think would be a fun segment to the podcast, even as a reward event to people who watch the podcast on the video version on YouTube. By any chance, is there a sketchbook near you can show some of your work from, if you're comfortable, by the way?
Sorry, what?
Is there by any chance a sketchbook nearby you could, show some of your recent sketches?
Yeah, I don't have it. I just moved up recently, and I have all my sketchbook in my home. I'm my other home, and actually I rarely do traditional drawings some these days, but all my books and stuff like that I don't have. Sadly, because I really I really love them. In fact I have all, even the ugly ones, or art, or the the ugly drawings and stuff like that, and I really keep them in a safe place because they're really important to me, but I don't have it here.
Yeah, awesome. Gotcha. And well, we've reached the final section of and question of the podcast, which is called final words. Now, let me explain. Imagine you had a limited amount of time, and in that limited amount of time, you could say anything, a message or a messages to anyone who might be listening to this podcast in the future. It could be a month in the future, maybe weeks, years, decades, who knows? And so basically, what would you say to those people from a human to another human being? It doesn't have to be art advice. It just has to be, something from your heart.
Okay. The thing I want everyone to know, like, don't be so hard with yourselves. Like, that's one of the things, like, I want everyone to, like, don't be so hard with yourself, because sometimes I do it myself, but I sometimes stop, like, okay, is that really necessary? I don't really have to be, like, to put so much pressure in yourself, when actually, if that thing that you really want, or it could be whatever, but if that thing that you really want doesn't happen, that's not the end of the world. There is a lot of stuff that you can do. And artistically, I want también to everyone to know, like, you get there. You're gonna get there. It takes time. I know a lot of sometimes tend to rush stuff, because that's what social media have prestigious. But you will get there sooner or later. And the industry is really big, and you're gonna get the job you want.
All right, that's actually a really good note to end this episode on. And thank you so much for coming by, and also for anyone who's listening or watching this podcast. Our today's guest, he really cooperated with me today. As a lot of on the stories, my kind of the laptop broke, and he's doing the recording for me. So I super appreciate that. Seriously, thank you so much, dude. And thank you to anyone. By the way, thank you to anyone who tuned in and listened to this episode. Sorry, I know the audio quality is scuffed, but to compensate for that, the video quality was much better. So yeah. All right. So as usual, if there's any suggestions or critiques or anything, leave them down in the comments below. And also for contacts, I think your email, and I'll put your Instagram caption. I'll put your Instagram ID in the captions, so anyone who has a question can reach you through there. And also your email is there. And yeah, the rest is history. And also I'll put the link of your Twitch as well, so if anyone is interested in maybe some video game streaming, or maybe some art streams, that's kind of fun. Art, character art streams, go look at his works. Look how pretty the colors are, everything. Just go watch it. All right. And all right, that's about it for episode 124. Thank you anyone again to tune in and listen, and thank you, Sarah, again for coming by. And that's it. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I should stop the recording, right?
Yes. I'll edit this out. Don't worry. It's fine. Yeah, just do the stop thing. Yeah, now I think it's still recording.